Hi, I'm Joe. I'm back with a new podcast. Okay, today I'm going to talk a little bit about ukuleles, or about things like tone woods, okay, and the different kinds of ukuleles, and in terms of like how do you actually look at whether the uke is a good quality uke or not, okay. Okay, so first of all, um, let's talk a little bit about tone woods. Okay, tone woods means that the kind of woods which you commonly see, or you actually see people using those kind of woods to actually make different kinds of ukuleles. Okay, so the most commonly found ones we have is actually mahogany. Okay, we have spruce, we have cedar. Okay, and I think probably like maybe maple and things like that. Okay, maple, acacia, and of course the Hawaiian ukuleles, or some of those custom made ones which are made from koa. Okay, obviously koa is expensive lah. Okay, so they cost more than the rest. Okay, so first of all, ukuleles can be actually, uh, when we talk about ukuleles, right? You always hear terms like, people always say things like is it a full solid, is it a solid top, or is it a laminate? Okay, so before we start talking about tone woods, we should actually talk about what's the difference between a laminate, solid top, and a full solid. Okay, okay. So starting off with full solid first. Full solid is the easiest to explain. Full solid actually means that the wood is a single piece of wood by itself, like a single board by itself. Okay. Now, if you think about it, the ukulele is actually like a box. Okay, it's actually like a box. Okay. Um, I mean, it's very similar to how guitars are like lah. It's actually like a box. Okay, that's how it actually amplifies the sound. Okay, and what happens is that for when they make the box, okay, all the sides of the box, okay, the four sides of the box and things like that, they actually use uh, thinly cut pieces of wood, okay, which they cut out the shape of the ukulele. Some of you might have seen uh, photos of such things being taken, okay, and then they will actually bend the woods for the sides, and then they will cut out the shape of the figure eight shape of the ukulele, and then they will actually glue it together to the body, okay. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to luthering. Luthering is the art of making ukulele. Okay, there's a lot more to luthering than just cutting out four pieces of wood and putting them together with glue. Okay, uh, there are things like, especially for the soundboard. Okay, the top part of the ukulele, the strings, and then right below the strings, that entire surface, that's called a soundboard. Okay, the soundboard itself needs to be braced correctly. Okay, braced correctly means that if you look at the inside of the ukulele, you will find that there are like little pieces of wood. Okay, uh, you will notice that there are little pieces of wood which are shaved and cut at a certain angle. Okay, strips of it which are being pasted on the inside part of the soundboard. Okay, so these things are actually called bracing. Okay, the bracing of the ukulele, just like in guitar, they actually have bracing, and the bracing actually affects the tone of the instrument. That's the reason why, for example, if you buy two different brands of ukuleles, if you buy, um, let's say for example, if you buy a Kala and you buy a Leho, both might have the exact same specs. Okay, they're both spruce tops, Indian rosewood body. Okay, they might be made with exactly the same type of wood, but then they sound different. Okay, that's because each brand, when they make the ukuleles, they actually brace it in a different way, so the tone comes out either better or worse, and or maybe two brands will sound completely different from each other. Okay, so that's a little bit about the science of how they actually build ukuleles now. Okay, okay, so now, uh, full solids means that the wood that's being used to make the ukulele is a single piece of wood. Okay, and they just cut out the required shapes to build the instrument. Okay, straightforward. Okay. Now, the other one I want to talk about, that's a little bit more complex, is actually laminates, because what happens is that when you go out there and see, there's a lot of ukes being sold at shops and music schools and all that. Those are made from those are full laminates. Okay. Now, I will get into laminates a little bit more later to explain to you why they are actually good quality and bad quality laminates. Okay. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about laminates. Okay. So laminates, when we say laminate, what does it actually mean? Okay, it means that, for example, if I say a mahogany laminate, okay, it means that they actually have a very thin piece of mahogany, um, paper thin, okay, really paper thin, okay, and and this paper thin piece of mahogany is glued, okay, to other cheaper kind of woods underneath, okay, so they may cut actually three thin slices of wood. The top one is maybe made of a more expensive wood lah, maybe mahogany or spruce or cedar, okay, or even koa. And then the bottom two layers, okay, mostly for laminates, they have about at least two or I think two or maybe three layers, at least three layers, okay. So the first layer is made from an expensive piece of wood. The second and third layer is actually made from cheaper kind of woods, okay. And what they do is that they actually the wood is cut paper thin, by the way. It's cut paper thin, very thin, okay. And they glue them together, and they use a machine, a high pressure machine, to press on the wood and keep it in place for days until the glue dries, okay. And after that drying process, they actually have a single piece of wood that is made up of three pieces of wood being glued together and compressed by high pressure, okay, and then they cut out the shape of the ukulele from there, okay. So that's what I mean by laminates, okay. So what's the difference? What's the core difference between a laminate and a full solid, okay? Uh, First of all, a full solid, because it's a single piece of wood, okay. Scientifically speaking, when a wood is just one piece by itself, when it vibrates, when you strike the strings, okay, the transference of the vibration is energy that's being transferred to the saddle. Okay, the saddle is the white piece of the little thin strip, the white color piece you see at the end of the strings. Okay, and the saddle sits on top of something called the bridge. Okay, the bridge is attached directly to the body of the ukulele. Okay, and what happens is that if you're using a solid top or a full solid ukulele, what happens is that the vibration gets transferred directly to that wood, and that single piece of wood actually vibrates. Okay, so uh, what happens is that you actually end up getting a clearer sound. Okay, the tone is more pronounced, it's more clear, and I mean generally speaking, full solids actually they sound great lah. Okay, um, now here's the thing, um, unless you are a very seasoned musician, okay, or you're a very seasoned guitar or ukulele player, most people actually will not be able to hear the difference, okay, between, or rather most beginners, I won't say people, because there are people out there who can actually hear the difference, but most beginners will not be able to hear the difference between a laminate and a solid, okay, they can't hear the difference, to them it sounds the same, and this is especially true if you are doing strum and sing, okay. If you are just strumming chords, okay, all the way, you're going zang 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 all the way, right? You can't really hear anything because it sounds almost the same whether I'm strumming a full solid or whether I'm strumming a laminate. To most people, it sounds the same, and this is quite true, okay. Now the difference only, I mean, you can only hear the difference, okay, provided someone who possesses that kind of level of skill to play chord melody, fingerstyle chord melody kind of solos, actually plays a beautiful piece of chord melody for you to hear. Then you can hear the difference between a full laminate and a full solid. Okay, that's how laminates and solids they are actually related lah. Okay, so again, I can't really say that okay, solids are superior and laminates are lousy, and that it really depends on the scenario. Okay, if you are just using the ukulele purely as an accompaniment instrument, in other words, you just strum chords to accompany yourself singing or to accompany other people singing, then it's okay for you to just buy a full laminate. doesn't make much difference. But if you are a very discerning player and you have experience in playing, picking notes and things like that, okay, or even picking chords, you can actually hear the difference between a solid and a laminate. So that is when you would probably want to go for a solid. Now, naturally, obviously, laminates were created to kind of drive the prices of ukes lower, okay? Because there are people out there who complain and say that, oh yeah, the solid is nice, but it's too expensive, we can't afford it. So that's the reason why laminates were created, lah. Okay. And again, I would really say that it really depends on the scenario. Okay. Okay. Now, here's the thing. So the three ukes that I was mentioning earlier, I was saying that solids, solid top, which is semi-solid, so solid, semi-solids, and laminates. Okay. So you already know what is full solid, which I explained, and you already know what is laminate. And then there's a third type, which is actually called the solid tops, or what we call the semi-solids. Semi-solids means that the top part, the soundboard, is made from solid wood, okay, from a single piece of solid wood, while the body is laminate, okay. Now, if you don't like the sound of a full laminate, you can actually try going for a solid top, because solid top actually sounds very pretty awesome as well. Okay, because solid top, because the most important part of the ukulele, just like the guitar, is actually the top part where the strings are right above it. Okay, because this is the board that vibrates the most. It comes in contact with the strings, right? So the vibration gets transferred directly to the board. So yeah, so that's what I call a solid top. Okay. Okay, now having said and explained what are laminates, solid tops, and full solids, okay, I would like to go on to explain a little bit about the the process that takes place in the background, which many of you are not aware of and probably have never seen before. Okay, me and Tommy have actually seen this before, lah, so we know, lah. Okay, a lot of people are not aware that a lot of the brands of ukes that you see out there on the market, okay, whether they are sold in shops or sold in music schools or even sold by some private instructors, okay, a lot of these ukes that you see out there are basically laminates, okay. And while there's nothing wrong with having a laminate uke, what is really wrong, that's really happening to the industry today, is that you must understand that prior to the world modernizing and having having all these machines and very large factories that mass produce ukes, okay. Prior to that, all ukuleles were originally made full solid, by the way, okay. And not only were they made full solid, they were made in very small workshops by luthiers and their apprentices, or the luthiers and their teams, okay, a small team of people working in a small workshop and building ukuleles, okay. That's the reason why ukuleles built in smaller workshops, they tend to have a superior build quality and even superior tone as well, okay, because the amount of detail put into the workmanship is very high. They don't mass produce, okay, they don't mass produce like in large factories, okay. Now there are a lot of brands out there. I cannot name the brands because of certain legal implications. I would love to name the brands for you, but I can't. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Um, yeah, because of legal implications. So I'm not allowed to name the brands. But what I can tell you is that I would say that that almost like every brand out there, like more than 95%, okay, of every brand that you find out there in shops and in music schools, are actually cheap laminates, which are made, mass produced in factories. Okay, and you might be asking me, okay, it's made in factories, so what, right? It's like everything's made in China, everything's made in factories, so what, right? Here's the thing: the factories that produce ukuleles, the large factories that churn out thousands of ukuleles a day, okay, to feed this ukulele craze that's going on in the world today, they employ people who are operators. Okay, they are operators. They are not even luthier apprentices. They are not even technical people, technicians who have been trained by the luthier. Okay, they are basically just operators, which means they have what they do is that they have a blueprint of how the ukulele should be made. Okay, so the blueprint tells them, okay, you cut the wood out this way, 4 pieces of it, and you glue it together, and that's it. You get a ukulele. Okay, so this is what's happening, and these operators, when they build the ukulele, they have virtually zero understanding of how to actually really set up the instrument and how to actually really build the instrument. In other words, it's kind of like an assembly kit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like an assembly kit. It's kind of like going to it's kind of like going to a shop to go and buy one of those cupboards which come disassembled, okay, DIY kind of thing, okay, and you put the furniture together yourself. You use a hammer and you lock it in, and use a screwdriver and screw things in yourself, okay, which I mean obviously is cheap because it's disassembled, okay. But if you really want a beautiful piece of furniture, you want a beautiful cupboard, you want a beautiful wardrobe and things like that, you definitely need to get one that is properly built by a furniture maker who knows what he's doing. You see, so many of these ukuleles which you see out there, I would say more than 90% of them, they are actually ukuleles which are built in very large factories by operators who have zero understanding of how the instrument is built. Okay, they are just following a set of instructions, and they are just following a set of blueprints. Okay, um, don't be shocked. All these operators, I would say that, in fact, the majority of the operators actually themselves are not musicians, and they do not even play the ukulele at all. Now that is a problem. Okay, that is a problem there. Okay, I'm getting to that soon. Okay, that is a problem, because what happens is that if you get a whole bunch of people who, let's say maybe like you have a workforce of like 100 people in a large factory building ukuleles non-stop, okay, and we're churning out thousands of ukuleles per day. We are cutting everything by machine, by laser. Now it's high tech. Now it's laser. Okay, they just use a laser and they cut out the entire shape of the ukulele, and they just build ukuleles really fast. Okay, what happens is that you are just getting a whole bunch of operators who do not even know what a good instrument is like. They have no idea what good tone is like. They have no idea what a good build is like. Okay, that's because they have no idea. They are just given a set of blueprints and said follow the blueprints and just do it like that, and we're going to sell it. That's it. Okay. Hence, when you buy ukuleles from outside, a lot of ukuleles, in fact, when you buy, okay, I mentioned earlier, more than 90% of them, if you notice, all of them either have terribly cheap tuners, or rather cheap tuning bags, okay, which look like they're going to fall off, something is not straight, not aligned correctly, the edges are rough, okay, the edges are sharp, the neck just feels weird, it doesn't feel good, okay. In other words, there's no zero comfort level in playing, okay. It's just terrible, okay, and this is because of something that's going on in the industry right now. It's basically caused by greed, okay. People just all these ukulele manufacturers, they just want to mass produce ukuleles at a very high rate, so they don't care even if the instrument is lousy, badly made, poorly made, the tone is horrible. They don't care. They're just going to continue assembling cheap, poorly made ukuleles forever, simply because it makes them rich. Okay, I'm speaking the truth based on experience. Okay, don't ask fake instructors about this. They know nothing about this. Okay, ask the people who really play ukuleles. They will tell you. They will know. Okay, those who can really play fingerstyle, chord melody fingerstyle, they will tell you what's a good ukulele and what's a lousy ukulele. Okay, so This is what's happening to the industry today. All these ukuleles are getting from bad to worse lah. It's just like on a downhill spiral. And and these kind of ukuleles are what we call operator ukuleles, okay, which are made by operators. They are not made by luthiers or their apprentices. So the end product that you get is, you know, definitely flawed and lousy. Doesn't play well. Doesn't really sound good. Doesn't play well. There are rough edges here and there, things like that. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I mean by ukuleles which are produced in large factories versus ukuleles which are produced in small workshops. Okay. Now I wanted to actually introduce you guys to three brands of ukuleles. Okay, which we are bringing in. There are two brands which are very closely related, as in the bosses of the company actually know each other. Okay, and the other one is more like a private kind of retail. Okay, so the first brand I'm going to talk about is Real Sun. Real Sun, okay, REALSUN. Uh, Real Sun, I think I put up the video, but it's in Mandarin. We'll try to get an English video up soon. Okay, Real Sun ukuleles are built in China, but they are not built in a large factory. They are built in a small workshop by a small team of people. So because of this, they are able to give a lot more attention to building detail. Okay, so you won't get all the funky like rough spots here and there, and no, why is it so sharp over here, and why is it the headstock isn't made properly and things like that. Don't get all these little flaws in the instrument as compared to like 90% of the brands out there. Okay, Real Sun builds really beautiful budget ukuleles. Okay, now when I mean budget, obviously I'm not talking about something that costs like $40 or $50. Okay, I mean if you want something that's $40 or $50, you just go to Groupon and buy a $20 one off Groupon, or you can go to any other site to buy it. Okay, if you want something that's like a toy, then yeah, sure, buy a Groupon uke, it's $20 only. Okay, or if you're just wanting to experiment with the instrument and you have no desire to really learn it, no desire to actually learn music, no desire to actually really go further the instrument, then it's fine. Just playing around and having some fun. Buy a $20 ukulele. Okay. But if you are serious about the instrument and you want something that's more capable, then but at the same time you don't want to really spend that much money, I would suggest you buy a Real Sun ukulele. Okay, the Real Sun ukulele is extremely well made. Okay, I don't have one with me right now because we sold off every single piece that we brought in, by the way. Okay, I think so far we've sold like maybe about 20 old pieces, and we're going to sell another 20 pieces more actually. Uh, uh, yeah, so anyway, I'm just going to describe it to you how roughly how it looks like. Okay, first of all, they have you look at their ukuleles, they have a very beautiful headstock. The way they built is very nice. Okay, the workmanship is beautiful. The fretboard and everything feels very comfortable. Okay, uh, they look nothing like what you see outside in shops and music schools. Okay, because these are not built in mass produced factories. Real Sun itself is actually built. They actually are built in a smaller workshop. Okay, so obviously the number of ukuleles which they churn out is definitely lower than what the factories are doing. So obviously they cannot price their ukes at like $20 or $40 kind of thing because they are running a small operation, but they are paying more attention to detail. So the quality is really high. Okay, so Real Sun ukuleles are roughly, I mean, if the selling price for us, we're selling it somewhere in the 200 plus range. Okay, and they come in a different varieties, like it can be like either soy top or maybe just full laminates. Okay, but even the full laminates for Real Sun is very beautiful. Okay, they actually, because like I said, they are made in small batches, small quantities, so a lot of attention is paid to the details. So the detailing of the ukulele is very good. Okay, in fact when you look at it, you won't even believe that it's something that is actually like $200 plus. Okay, for Real Sun ukuleles, we actually have one that's less than. I mean, we have the laminate models as well, which are below 200. We sell it for about $180, which are also very well made. Like I said, even though they are laminates, but they are what we call high quality, extremely high quality laminates. Okay, built in small workshops, not in large factories. Okay, so yeah, and we also have a solid top real sound ukulele, which sounds amazing and plays amazingly well. I mean, all the real sound ukuleles play amazingly well. Okay, because that's how high the quality really is. You can actually take one of those and compare it against other brands, and I can tell you, I can guarantee you, you will not be able to find another brand that can compete against their level of workmanship. Okay, okay, so for real sound ukuleles, if you really want to see a sample, unfortunately because we don't really have any on hand at the moment, but those of you who are really keen to go and see a sample, uh, actually if you go to Hillview CC, Hillview Community Club on Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Uh, a lot of the people there are using real sound ukuleles. Okay, they bought it from us. So a lot of people there, when you walk in, you first thing you notice is like, hey, how come it's like a whole bunch of people using the same ukulele? Okay, and you can take a look, just borrow from one of them, just say, can I take a look at your ukulele and look at it, turn it around and look at how the edges are actually rounded and not sharp and things like that. Look at the fretboard and how well made the fretboard is, and try playing a few chords on it. And I tell you, you will fall in love with it. It's amazing. Okay, the standard of building is amazing. Okay, for that price, it's really fantastic. Okay, yeah, and I can really assure you that there's no other brands out there, because I mean, for people like me and Tommy, we have seen almost like every brand on the planet. Okay, we have years of experience with different kind of brands of ukuleles, and we have seen so many brands out there, and nothing comes close. Nothing comes close to what Railsun can build for that price. Okay. Now the second one I want to talk about is Bright Sun ukuleles. Bright Sun ukuleles is actually by a different boss. Okay, but they know each other. They're actually good friends. So they each started their own company to build really high quality ukuleles. And Bright Sun is catering. Bright Sun caters more towards the mid to high end, or rather mid high range brand kind of quality of ukuleles. Okay, again, Bright Sun builds very high, extremely high quality ukuleles, just like Real Sun. Okay, the difference being they actually specialize in. They have a larger selection of woods. They actually build. They have a lot of other kind of woods which they use, like maple and acacia and all that. They use a lot of different across the board different kind of woods to build. Okay, and they build solid tops as well. They build full solids as well. Their full solids are beautiful, amazing pieces. Okay, Bright Sun does not build laminate, by the way. Okay, Bright Sun does not build laminate. They build minimum at least a solid top or full solid. In fact, I think the solid top model might not be available anymore. So the rest is all full solid. But their full solids are worth checking out. Okay, obviously prices range between somewhere at least around. It range somewhere between like maybe $450, uh, all the way up to maybe about $1,002, $1,003, depending on what configuration you want. Okay, but they have a lot of different models for that. And and Bright Sun, just like Real Sun, they follow pretty much the same concept. Is that in that they don't have a mass produced factory. They don't have a large factory that mass produces ukuleles. Okay, they are really built in small workshops. So by building in smaller quantities in a smaller environment, using less workers, okay, obviously, the boss, who is actually a master luthier, and he's able to actually control the quality of the instruments being built. Okay, and just a little bit about the boss. We call him Luther Chow, and Luther Chow is actually he used to work for the Anunui, Anuenue. I think you guys have heard of this brand before. Okay, Anunui is actually a Taiwanese-based brand, which became famous for its build quality of its ukes lah. Okay, and Luther Chow, just like okay, in Anunui they actually have two different sections. They have the production section, and then they have the custom shop section, which the production models are the one that you see, which are mass produced. Okay, and the other side of it, they actually have the custom shop series, which is really built by hand. Okay, very beautiful pieces of instruments, very high quality sound and things like that. And Luthier Chow used to work for Anuni. He's one of the luthiers under the custom shop custom shop series. Okay, so his building style and skills was actually honed while he was working there. And then later he came out to start his own business, and the company that he set up is actually called Bright Sun. He set up two companies, Bright Sun and LCU. Okay, LCU stands for Luther Charles Ukuleles. Okay, so Bright Sun and LCU, BS and LCU. Now, okay, for LCU is actually pretty much like Bright Sun. The difference being LCU they actually deal particularly in high end custom handmade kind of ukes, which means that when you look at LCU ukes, right, every uke looks a little bit different, okay? Because when you build everything by hand, by the way, when you build everything by hand, you cannot build two ukuleles exactly the same. If you really go and scrutinize their ukuleles one by one, you notice that no, each uke is a little bit unique and different from the other, okay? Okay, because when you build it by hand, is you cannot make exact replicas of each other. So every instrument that's built is unique and special by itself, okay? Yeah, so LCU ukuleles is very nice, it's very beautiful. I have an LCU ukulele as well. Those of you who might be interested, you can meet me at Hillview CC on Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Level 3, I think activity room 1 or 2, you can go and check out. I can actually show it to you lah. I have one, it's beautiful, okay? So for LCU and for Bright Sun, yeah, that's basically what they are, okay? And this was what I'm trying to get at lah. Actually, because Bright Sun and Real Sun are actually brands which are, how do I say, they are not exactly new brands. They've been around for quite some time, at least a couple of years. But the problem is that in Singapore our brands of ukuleles are actually very limited. We actually have, I mean, we have a lot of brands, but the brands are basically just mass produced, very cheap, poorly built instruments. Okay, mass produced and poorly built instruments, lah. So we don't really know about Bright Sun and Real Sun, but Bright Sun and Real Sun is very popular in China. Okay, those of you who actually keep up with the latest brands and the latest developments in China and things like that. If you are into the ukulele scene in China, you will know about Bright Sun and Real Sun. They are famous over there. Okay, they are very famous. Their instruments are absolutely beautiful. Okay, their instruments, even though built by Chinese luthier and his apprentices in China, can outdo the ones which are even built elsewhere. Okay, that's how good their instruments actually are. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are ukuleles which are built in Korea or built in Vietnam, and no, they can totally win every one of them. Okay, I'm not exaggerating because we own the instrument, we know how fantastic the quality is. You have to come and try out for yourself, and then you believe. Okay, you'll see for yourself, and you're like, wow. No, you won't believe that. Wow, there's really a uke that's so beautifully made. Okay, it's so perfectly built and it's so comfortable when you play. It sounds amazing and everything. Okay, so yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys have to come and check it out, lah. Okay. So I think that's about it. Okay. Anyway, I know this video is a little bit long, so I'll try to talk a little bit more about tonewoods and then I'll wrap it up. Okay. So yeah, just bear with me. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is tonewoods. Okay, tonewoods basically, like I said, the very common woods that you see will be things like koa, mahogany, spruce, cedar, maple. Okay, there are other woods like maybe mango and things like that, but I don't want to talk about mango because personally I've tried mango and I don't really like mango, and most of my friends don't like mango as well. Okay, mango wood, even though it's beautiful, but it's just somehow it's not a tone wood, the tone just doesn't come out. You see, the sounds just seems to be very very muted. Even for full solid, okay, even for full solid mangoes, okay, I've tried before and I don't really like them a lot. And of course acacia is kind of like it's the same family as koa, but acacia, or what is commonly known as a golden acacia, is actually acacia that's found in Asia. Okay, acacia is actually of the same family as koa, even though they're different. Okay, they're actually Asian koa. Okay, And acacia has a very sweet sound to it. Okay, a very sweet, very mellow and very sweet kind of sound to it. Okay, sweet tone to it. Okay, and yeah, some people like it a lot lah. Okay, for spruce, spruce is very bright. Okay, spruce is a very bright sounding kind of tone wood. Very very commonly used in classical guitars or even some folk guitars, country folk guitars. Okay, some classical guitarists they love spruce tops a lot because when they pick notes, they can actually project the sound very well. And of course, there's another one called cedar. Cedar is somewhat very close, very similar to spruce, but cedar has a slightly darker uh, shade to its tone than spruce. Okay, slightly slightly darker, not so bright. Okay, slightly darker. And some people like cedar. I love cedar because um, especially for guitar, in Latin music they use a lot of cedar top guitars to play. I own cedar tops and I have a cedar top guitars and things like that, and I love cedar a lot. Okay, so cedar and spruce are commonly. I love spruce as well. I also have spruce because I play classical guitar and I have spruce top as well, and I also have a spruce top ukulele as well. Okay, so I love spruce and cedar. To me, they are both very good tone woods. Okay, uh, okay. Maple is a little bit unique. Maple is somewhat like spruce. It is probably not exactly as bright as spruce. The tone is not as bright as spruce. Still very bright, okay. But maple has a lot of volume, a lot of punch, a lot of projection. When you play. So those of you who really like when you strum, you want to make it sound really loud. You might want to consider getting a maple top line or ukulele made of maple. Okay. I'm one of those two. Yeah, I also like maple as well. I like bright sounding woods. Um, and yeah, and obviously the last one is koa. Okay, but koa unfortunately is expensive because koa is only found in Hawaii and only found within the nearby Polynesian islands. Okay, this particular species of trees they don't grow elsewhere in the world. Okay, so because of that, koa is very is a controlled is a controlled wood actually lah. Okay, so koa is getting rare these days. Okay, koa brands like Kamaka, brands like Kanilia, Koaloha, Ko'olau, the what they call the K brands from Hawaii. The K brands are the ones which build koa, full solid koas. Very pricey, definitely very pricey. Okay, so if you're talking about koa ukes, full solid koas by the way, because I think that getting a laminate koa is kind of pointless lah. Yeah, if you want to get koa, you must get full solid. Okay, don't waste your money buying a laminate koa. It doesn't make sense at all. Uh, so for koa full solids, they are at least minimum in the higher end of somewhere maybe in the 1,008 range, all the way up to 2,000 plus, or maybe even 3,000, depending on what combination you want. Okay, and the grade of koa even they have the double, the triple A, the quadruple A, or the 5A koa, which is really expensive, and they even have the figured curly koa and things like that. Okay, those are special koas which are beautiful. Their grains are beautiful. Okay, so it really depends on how beautiful you want the wood to be. Okay, for koa, but koa is the elite lah. Okay, koa is the elite among wood. Uh, but for tone wise, I feel that it's really subjective. I can't really compare koa. Koa is actually very sweet. It has a very mid-range kind of tone. It's not too bassy, neither is so it's not too mellow. Neither is it too bright. Somewhere like in the middle. So it's a kind of like a mid-range kind of tone that's beautiful. So I love koa. I also have koa lips as well. And Tommy has a lot of them, plenty of them. Yeah, but koa is expensive, it's very pricey. Okay, yeah, at least in the upper end of the 1K range, $2,000 above, at least to get a decent koa uke. Okay, yeah, so koa is one of those things that especially if you're a fingerstyle player, you play chord melody fingerstyle well, you might want to look into getting a custom koa built ukulele. Okay, you can contact us, contact Tommy or contact me, and we'll hook you up lah. So yeah, basically that's what it is about koa. Yeah, so I think that these are the most commonly used woods. And oh yeah, sorry, I haven't talked about mahogany. Mahogany is probably a very common kind of wood that's being used to build ukuleles. Okay, Probably one of the most common because originally there was one company called Martin Ukulele that actually built. Uh, they built. They used to build in the past. I mean, they used to build handmade, very good handmade kind of mahogany ukuleles. Okay, so I mean they don't do that now. Okay, they are now multi-whips are already made in factories and things like that, so they are different. The quality has changed a lot from last time. But in the early days, I'm talking about maybe the 1920s or 30s, the vintage ukuleles, the vintage Martins are made of mahogany. Okay, so mahogany is one of the very popular woods that's used for doing ukuleles as well. Not Martin, but mahogany ukuleles. Mahogany ukuleles are actually very, how I say, they have the tone wood is very mellow. Okay, they fall under the mellow side of tone. Okay, doesn't really have that much projection. It's not that bright and things like that. But it's very mellow, and some people like it a lot because when you strum a little bit harder, it doesn't jar. You see, the sound is very very nice and mellow. Okay, so yeah, some people actually are fans of mahogany. I also have a mahogany as well. Lah. I have a couple of ukuleles myself, which are of different tone woods. That's how we actually know about this kind of thing. Tommy as well. Tommy has a lot, more than me. He's a collector. He collects high end whips, so he has high end whips of different woods even. Okay, so yeah, do talk to him as well if you have if you have a chance to. Okay, he'll tell you more about tone woods. And I think yeah, that's about it lah for this video. I know it's a little bit long. I'm sorry about that. I hope that you actually walk away from this knowing a little bit more about tone woods. Okay, if you have any questions, just feel free to drop us a message lah. Or WhatsApp and everything will be our numbers are below. You can just WhatsApp us and ask us a question and we'll try to get back to you. Okay. So yeah, that's it. And thank you and good night.